Yes, the president has made it clear since the campaign that America would look very different in the Trump era. Here's President Obama talking about America's place in the world back then.
There have been times where America's shown arrogance and been dismissive, even derisive.
My job to the Muslim world is to communicate that the Americans are not your enemy. We sometimes make mistakes.
We've at times been disengaged, and at times we've sought to dictate our terms.
Compare that tone and message to the one we heard today as President Trump unveiled his Trump doctrine on national security.
Our strategy calls for us to confront, discredit, and defeat radical Islamic terrorism and ideology. We have dealt ISIS one devastating defeat after another. In Afghanistan, our troops are no longer undermined by artificial timelines. Our campaign of maximum pressure on the North Korean regime has resulted in the toughest ever sanctions. With this strategy, we are calling for a great reawakening of America, a resurgence of confidence, and a rebirth of patriotism, prosperity, and pride.
So what exactly does this new path mean for our homeland and for our place in the world? Here now, Lieutenant Colonel Michael Waltz, former Green Beret commander and Fox News contributor. He was part of a small group that was briefed by President Trump's national security advisor, H.R. McMaster, before the speech that you saw the president give today. You have served under both of these commander-in-chiefs, Michael. Colonel, talk to me a little bit about what's different to you. What's different in the tone from President Obama to President Trump?
Well, a number of things were really striking to me. One, just taking a step back, it really looks at the world very realistically as it is, and then tries to chart America's path within that world, rather than looking at the world as we wish it to be, which is what I think we saw the last 8 years. So what does that really mean? Well, one, I think philosophically, this president is looking for America to lead within the world in accordance with its values and sees America as a force for good. Whereas President Obama, I think, at his core, saw American intervention as doing more harm than good and sought to pull that back. Yeah. The second thing is that, it really sees the world, the United States in a competitive space. From diplomatic to information and military to economic, and acknowledges that and charts out how America is going to compete. And that's from peer competitors like Russia and China. That's from rogue states like Iran and North Korea. And that's from terrorist organizations like ISIS and al-Qaeda.
He said, we accept that vigorous military, economic, and political contests are now playing out all around the world. We face rogue regimes that threaten the United States and allies. We face terrorist organizations, transnational criminal networks, and others who spread violence and evil around the globe. We face rival powers, Russia and China, that seek to challenge American influence, values, and wealth. There were those who watched the speech today and said that the actual text of the new national security plan was much tougher on Russia than the way the president spoke about it today. You were privy to that plan. Do you agree?
I do agree. And, a couple of things that he put front and center, which hasn't been done before, to this degree anyway, and that is particularly our economic security. If America isn't thriving economically, then it isn't safe. Economic security is national security. And looking at things like currency manipulation, at the wholesale theft of the United States technological edge, at unfair trade deals. Those are all things that this administration is looking to take on as national security issue, not as sidelined kind of economic issues. It also looks at areas like space, where the Chinese are incredibly aggressive right now in challenging American dominance, and then charts a course on how the United States is going to challenge and lead in space, whether it's through the commercial sector like SpaceX or through national security sector.
Yeah. Well, there's no doubt that China and Russia both want to be the dominant force in the world. And in order to compete with that, we're going to have to be ready.
And that is not in line with, and that's not in line with American values. Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Colonel Waltz. Good to see you as always. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Martha. Okay.